All right, how's it going? Welcome to a nighttime flight on the Emirates A380. It's time for a life update. Now, most of you guys on this channel know me for the flight videos, the travel experiences, the flight reviews, the first class. And I figured since we're gonna do a life update, share with you what's going on, may as well do it in the most ostentatious of surroundings when it comes to first class flights. So welcome to Emirates First Class. Settle in. Let's chat about where things are going, how things are going, what's happening, why things are changing, evolving. You know, some of you, I imagine, have been following me since the early days before this channel existed. Some of you might be new. Some of you might just know me for the flight videos, and that's it, right? So I'll share a bit of the story to start, and then I'll talk about why I feel like things are moving, changing up a little bit. So still more of the same in some ways, but also some different things that, you can expect to see on the channel in my life going forward. We've been doing 20, maybe 25, maybe, I don't know how many we've done. We've done probably 50 flight videos at this point. It might just seem like I'm somebody who travels all the time, flies all the time, and makes these videos. But I've actually been at this for a long time. It's, there's more than just the flights. It's my company is what powers this, right? I'm the founder of a travel company called Prince of Travel, and I started it 7 years ago in early 2017. At its core, Prince of Travel is all about helping travelers, helping average folks travel the world better, right? See more of the world, experience flights just like this one, at a fraction of the cost. And we do that through maximizing our credit cards and maximizing our points. And that's really where I should start, because that's where I myself had started on this whole journey. Like, the reason I fly all these, right, is because that's been my journey since day one. Back in the day, I was trying to figure out how to actually do this for myself using the credit card points. And that was my journey. And this was 2015, 2016. When it comes to around 2017 is when I decided to go ahead and create my website, princeoftravel.com, right? And that's where I was sharing all the tips, tricks, strategies, all the hacks for using your credit card points to experience stuff like this. And over time, I built the audience. So, if you didn't know it existed, we have a separate YouTube channel. It's called Prince of Travel. You can check that out for all of the tips that you need to know to, make dream trips like this a reality for yourself. So we got started there, 2017, 2018, 2019. As I was first building up my own abilities in travel, that's when I was starting to check off my bucket list items, right? First was my first ever business class flight. That was Brussels Airlines business class in 2017. And that was my first class flight, Lufthansa first class, later that year. And then it was my first, major hotel redemption. And then, more and more bucket list items as we went on 2018, 2019. It was around the turn of the year 2019, 2020 that I kind of had a choice to make between whether I wanted to just keep doing Prince of Travel relatively comfortably, like we had built an audience. People were, getting value out of the content and making, a good amount of money from what started as a side hustle became my area of passion. So I had a choice between doing that or scaling it as a company, right? Building a company, building something that can make a greater impact, building a team. And I went with the latter because, I thought about it and the choice was clear to me. I wanted to do something that felt bigger than myself. I wanted to make a greater impact. I wanted to reach even more people, bring the joys of travel to an even wider set of people, even wider audience. So that was the journey from 2020 onwards. Obviously, the pandemic, was both challenging and interesting, and an interesting time. It was challenging. Obviously, travel ground to a halt, but, allowed me the time to focus and build and learn the skills I needed to, bring on a team, to, expand the range of what we're doing. And 2020 onwards until now has been that whole journey, right? That's been what I've been mostly working on, growing the team. We now have a team of over 25 people at Prince of Travel supporting all the work we do. chipping in on the content production, delivering our products and services. And it's been a hell of a journey. So around 2021, during that journey, that latter half of the journey that I was talking about, is when I started this channel, right? Ricky Zhang. This channel for me, right? Because we had our Prince of Travel channel. That's where I was sharing a lot of the tips and tricks. But then when it comes to vlogging and filming my experiences, I felt like a channel that was more personal felt more appropriate, right? Felt like the better fit. And it started off with Austrian Airlines business class vlog, and then the second one was Air France La Première. That was a interesting experience in terms of how I got on that flight. But yeah, that was the second video on this channel, and since then I've done all these videos about all these other flights that I've been on, and that's brought us to now. So that's been the story. Hopefully that gives you a bit of insight as to sometimes we see in the comments of the flight vlogs, what do you do for a living? Or people think I'm some kind of mobster flying around. There's one guy who keeps making comments that Ricky's a mobster or something like that. But yeah, hopefully that if you've been curious about what's the work that enables all these flights, all these experiences, well, hopefully that sheds some light. But why are things changing on this channel? Why can you expect something different in terms of the direction of the Ricky Zhang channel? Look guys, I've been doing this for 7 years in terms of the travel experience, right? And I've been documenting it for most of that. I've flown most of the airlines experiences that there are to fly, right? There's always new ones, right? Later this year, 2024, I'll be on the new Japan Airlines first class. That's going to be really fun. There's always new ones to go for, but by and large, I've documented the ones that that really speak to me, that I think will do well on YouTube, that you guys will like. And after that, there's not a whole lot that really goes into the next, Emirates first class video, let's say. Once I've shown you the seat and the food and the cabin and the service and the pajamas and obviously the shower in the sky once, how much value is there to another video on all of those, right? And so that's one reason. Okay, that's one reason. Reason number two, ultimately, is getting a little bit bored of the format, right? That's the other piece. This is it's a small niche on YouTube, right? There's a handful of us who make aviation travel videos. Shout out to the legends, Nonstop Dan, my friend Will from Trek Trendy. I've been following Will since we met in 2020 when he had 15,000 subscribers. Now he's 1 million plus, I believe. He's killing it. Yeah, some of the Josh Cahill, always controversial, but interesting videos to watch. My friend Tizin from Vicarious Voyager, right? Doesn't make many videos anymore, but definitely inspired me back in the day. So these are all people who inspired me, and I can only hope to make these flight videos a fraction as impressive. But I've enjoyed that process for a few years, but at this point, I feel like there's more to offer, right? I feel like there's more we can do with this channel, that I can do with this channel as I embark on, the rest of the journey in terms of my work and my pursuits. Hold that thought. I'll get to it in a little bit. I'll get back to it. The fundamental reason why the channel needs to change is because I'm changing. Okay, and how am I changing? Around the turn of last year, so late 2023, I realized that, whereas previously I was feeling extremely excited and invigorated by all this flying and traveling and hotels and new experiences, new horizons, new travel, bucket list items that I was checking off, that was starting to fade a little bit. That was starting to shift. And I was both surprised and not surprised by this. Okay, surprised because I had always been such. This had always been such a fervent pursuit of mine, right? Since my early 20s, I was like, I just want to travel. I love to travel. Before my early 20s, honestly, I was fairly directionless, right? Up until I discovered the possibilities of travel and traveling the world on points, no less, right? Doing so in style at a fraction of the cost. And that gave me purpose, that gave me direction, that gave me something to channel my energy and my abilities into, and that's resulted in Prince of Travel, what you see today. So for most of my 20s, that was what I was optimizing for. It was all these travel experiences. It was all these wins, right? It was all these sweet spots to redeem my points and fly in first class and do things that few other people got to do. And, it was this particular, it was this lifestyle of travel freedom, right? If you guys do this, if you're somebody who does this to a certain extent, you'll understand what I mean, right? Back in the day, for example, you could use Aeroplan points. You could book 16 flights around the world for 150,000 points, all in business class. You could do 3 stops for long periods, and then the remaining 12 stops could be up to 24 hours, right? So, you just live this insane lifestyle of jet setting around the world and then checking into a super nice hotel that you also booked on points, going out for dinner, seeing the sights, going back to the airport, next flight. And I did 4 or 5 of those trips in quick succession. One of the things I think I would like to imagine set our work apart at Prince of Travel compared to, just other brands, other websites you could follow is the fact that we, as the founder, always look to walk the walk because that was what I was passionate about. And I'd like to think that passion shone through in, the advice that we were giving, the tips that we're offering. And so for all my 20s, that was what drove me, right? The next trip, the next hotel, the next destination. All good things, well, what's the saying? Something about moderation, right? All good things, it's not coming to me right now, but I think you get what I mean. Basically, too much of a good thing becomes maybe not so good, right? Because that's kind of the feeling I was getting towards the end of last year. I was getting to a point where, the actual act of traveling and using points and maximizing my miles and hitting all the sweet spots had given me so much, right? It had all given me so much. I had at first it was my first business class flight. Then it was my first class flight. Then it was my first round the world trip. And then it was, my first hotel suite upgrade. That was an amazing feeling. My first overwater villa in the JW Marriott Maldives, where I got engaged to my now wife, right? It's given me so much. And there's even more, bachelor party, right? My team surprised me on a round the world trip with Q Suites and Qatar Airways first class, and then Emirates first class. All these sweet spots throughout the years. The mini round the world, like I talked about, the Emirates extravaganza that I did a few times, where you could use Alaska miles and fly 3 Emirates first class flights for the price of 1. I've done my fair share of all of these. Mistake fares, right? That's another thing we talk about in the space often, and that's when a fare is when a first class or business class flight is extremely cheap and it's a really good deal and you have to get on it right away. And I did a handful of those. Cathay Pacific first class from Vietnam to North America, New Year's Day 2018. That was a doozy. Seatbelts. 1 sec. What else? Mistake fares. Right. Air France, right? That was a fun one where you had the $500 fare originating out of Algeria, and there was the whole debacle, shenanigans, whatever you want to call it, across Barcelona and Paris. So, that was another one for the books in terms of how it happened. And then, yeah, we had the pandemic, right? We were all stuck at home, 2020, 2021. And 2022, 2023, that was all revenge travel, right? And for me, that was, checking off all the first class experiences that I had missed. I did ANA first class, the new one. I did Qatar Airways, some more Etihad. Did Etihad apartments with my dad. Surprised him for his 60th birthday. So, look, basically the gist of it is, all this had given me so much. Don't get me wrong, it's incredible, and I'm incredibly blessed to have had all these experiences. And I'd be silly to say otherwise, right? Obviously, I'm incredibly blessed to have been able to do all this. Yes, as a result of my own pursuit of this, but still, it's a blessing. Blessing that things have worked out this way. But like I said, too much of a good thing starts to become attuned to it, or it starts to become a bit dulled, I suppose. There's a phenomenon, what's known as the hedonic treadmill, right? Basically, if you're just consistently pursuing hedonism, right, which is just the pursuit of pleasure, which all of this is very much a form of that. Even if travel obviously has intrinsic value that we all pursue, that adds so much to our lives, this specific form of travel is a form of pleasure that we all indulge in, right? And the hedonic treadmill, once you get on that treadmill, once you have more and more of these experiences, they don't tend to have that same hit anymore. That was the exact feeling that I was finding myself with towards the end of last year. It's quite interesting because, when it comes to change, right? I mentioned I was both surprised and not surprised. And the reason I was not surprised is because people ahead of me, people who were, in their, say, 30s, when I was in my 20s and I was doing all this, had said to me that this isn't something that's going to last forever. Don't expect it to. And so, in many ways, it did feel natural towards the end of last year. This is the year, 2024 is the year I turned 30. So it did feel natural that, that chapter of just purely optimizing for travel experiences and for the next over-the-top first class, super flashy, super impressive experience of some kind, that phase was coming to a close. And don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna enjoy these experiences going into my 30s. It's just not gonna be the thing that I'm looking to optimize for. And that touches upon a little bit why, the channel needs to evolve as well. Because in many ways, I have so much respect for the flight reviewers who can come onto a first class flight, and even though they've been on 9 or 10 of them before, they've still got all the energy, they've still got all the excitement, they've got oh my god, wow, look at, the doors, the mirrors, the pajamas, the mini bar and whatnot. That's not something that really feels authentic to me, right? In terms of how I want to express myself, how I want to represent myself on the channel. It's important to me to represent myself authentically. So that means that if my mindset is changing, if where I'm at is evolving, if what matters to me is evolving, then so too should how I express myself on the channel. So that's the update. The question is now, if I'm no longer optimizing for freedom and over-the-top experiences, what am I optimizing for? What does matter to me, right? And that's something I've spent a lot of time over the past couple of months thinking about. Could probably still dial in a more precise answer, but I'd say that basically it revolves around the work I do, the impact I can have through the businesses I run, right? Prince of Travel. We recently launched Prince Collection as well, which is our luxury travel agency. The value that I can deliver to the travelers out there. Travel is ultimately still, it always will be, central to my heart, right? Like I mentioned, so much intrinsic value to getting out of our, comfortable homes, seeing the world, seeing a new perspective, broadening our horizons, meeting people of all different cultures and backgrounds. So that's never been in doubt. I don't see that ever changing. And I continue to want to enable that for, as many people as I can reach as Prince of Travel can help, right? I want to maximize that. I want to level up my own skills, right, in leading the company, in making the company, making our work as impactful as possible. I want to pursue whatever I'm currently not capable of doing. I want to become capable of doing, right? 2 years ago, we launched the Travel Summit, which is our event for people in the community, for passionate travelers, for people who want to maximize their travel possibilities in life. We had 500 people, 400 people at the first event, which blew me away in terms of I'm capable of that. I hadn't considered that I'd be capable of it before the day the event took place. And then I was like, oh, wow. So then, I'd love to level up. I want to see if we can do a 500-person event this year. I want to see if we can do a 1,000-person event in the future. I want to keep pushing my boundaries, right? I want to keep pushing my abilities, keep putting up notches, putting up wins on the scoreboard. And travel's the industry for me, right? Travel's the industry that I'm going to be in for the next 40 years, my entire career, because that's who I am. That's what speaks to me. That's what's enabled me to have some modicum of success so far, and in a very fulfilling and deeply fulfilling way, because that's a privilege that not many people have, right? To be able to do deeply fulfilling work and to make an impact through that. So, long story short, the work I do is front and center now. For 5 years, I've been building a business without actually building a business. I haven't been really focusing on it. I've just been focusing on how can I use this business that I've built. Yes, I've built it, but I was mainly focusing on how can I use this to have more travel experiences myself. If I'm being honest, that's what I was doing, and that's changing now. So with all that said, how's the content on this channel going to evolve? You'll see over time for sure, but my ideas right now are very much along the lines of, obviously this is all still fun, right? First class flights, we're in the niche. This channel is in the niche. Our flight videos tend to get lots of clicks, and videos about other stuff tends not to. So there's always going to be a role for this kind of video that you guys like, and that that I enjoy making as well. And like I said, there's always new products. There's always new variations of existing products. There's always value in seeing how a product has evolved over time. So what's Emirates First Class like in 2024, let's say? So, that'll always be a part of the channel. But I think there's room to offer more, right? Because so far, like I said, I've just been playing a character when I show up to the YouTube channel. I've been the host of a first class travel show, right? Showing you all the things, trying the food, telling you, oh, it tastes good, or this one tastes better than this, the service is like this, here's the bathroom, right? It's pretty formulaic, it's pretty simple, and it's not what I would consider authentic. Like I said, authenticity is important to me. So I'd love to take this channel in a direction where, in addition to the travel experience that I'm showing you guys, I'm also able to share with you the insights, the learnings, the new perspectives that I'm getting, right, in real time, both on the road, right, at a new place, at a new destination, or an old destination, a place I visit for the second or third time, right? A new insight, a new learning that I get from that travel experience, or something that I'm picking up, something that I'm struggling with, something that I'm overcoming in my business or in my life, right? Because, when I say business, really, as any entrepreneur who's watching will know, business, if you're an entrepreneur, business and life are kind of one and the same, because they kind of, cross over and integrate in all sorts of ways. So that's what you can expect on the channel. there's a lot more I can offer. I'd like to think that's hopefully valuable to some of you. Anytime I come across, like, let's say a stranger or somebody I'm meeting for the first time, and tell them what's the work that I do, and people are often like, wow, that's a dream, right? That's a dream life. And it is. Like, I'd be the first to admit that it's a dream job, it's a dream life. And again, I feel incredibly blessed to have been able to do this and to have this platform. And perhaps there's some of you guys who are watching who would like to pursue your own dreams, whether that's in the travel space, whether that's, putting your own spin on travel, whether that's solving problems that you see in the travel space, whether that's in other spaces, right? Things that matter to you, things you're passionate about. I'd like to think if you're watching this channel, if you watch First Class Flights, I'd like to think you're somebody of an aspirational mindset, right? Somebody of an ambitious mindset. And in particular, if you resonate with the work that I've been putting out, the videos I've been putting out, I'd like to think you're probably, globally oriented, globally curious, looking to see more of the world, understand more of the world, and figure out how you can leverage that understanding to, broaden your own achievements and impact and level of fulfillment that you get out of work and life, right? Like, that would make sense to me, that if you're watching my channel, that's something that I've been able to, find, that's something you'd like to take away as well. And my goal is to offer you that, right? Through videos, on the road, on the ground, maybe at home sometimes. We'll see. Whatever I'm learning, whatever I'm picking up, whatever I'm thinking about, whatever I'm trying to get clarity on, whatever type of mental model I found useful in thinking about a certain problem or certain thing I'm trying to, solve or aim for, or task I'm trying to get accomplished. I'd like to find a way to seamlessly tailor that into all of the first class flights, all of the aspirational stuff that I know you guys like to watch. So, look out for a few more videos coming soon in that mold that I've been working on this overall trip. And obviously, from there, you'll see even more videos in the future as well. That's been the life update, guys. It's been really refreshing to sit down here, chat with you a little bit. Maybe there's something we can do, on a semi-regular basis as well. Yeah, this is, I mentioned authenticity is important to me. That's why for this video, I'm just gonna upload it as is, no cuts. This is just a flight on Emirates first class, nighttime, fifth freedom between Hong Kong and Bangkok. It's just you and me chatting. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope some parts have resonated with you. It's a lot of this is relatively new even for me. I've been thinking about this relatively recently. If you have any thoughts, reflections, comments, things you would be excited to see me talk about, things you would like to see from the channel, insights to share, perspectives of your own to share, let me know in the comments. I'll be paying attention. If you're excited for the journey, if you're somebody who is feeling like a hell yes, right, for the direction of this channel, if you're excited to see, the outcomes of my journey and me documenting it, let me know, because I'm excited to have you. If you're one of the viewers who maybe just likes the flights, just likes when I play the character of look at the caviar, look at the champagne. Well, there's many other channels out there that do that, right? It's important to be true to oneself. It's important to, especially as we live our lives online, like that is how we live our lives now. To me, it's important that we all do so in a way that's true and authentic. So with that said, I'll leave it there. Should catch a meal service on this flight. Relatively short, so I'm trying to squeeze in a caviar tasting as well. But yeah, stay tuned for more videos. Let me know in the comments what you think. Follow me on Instagram. If you like to stay in touch, be in touch, follow along in more real time as I'm traveling. It's been a pleasure. If you've watched it this far, thanks so much for being here. You guys are the reason. If you've been following me, you guys are the reason that, that I've been able to do this and been able to have such a fulfilling set of experiences over the years and been able to do that and make a living out of the work I love to do. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Got up. All right.